Hello everyone, I'm your English teacher and I hope that everything is good with you and your family. Now today we are going to discuss two chapters and one poem from your book First Flight. So we have already done these chapters. Now today I'm just going to recall your memories related to these chapters what we have discussed before. So our first chapter is Nelson Mandela Long Walk to Freedom. Before I discuss this chapter with you, I want to ask you few questions related to this one. So my first question is, do you know about apartheid policy? Yes, of course, many of you know the answer. But for those who don't know, apartheid is a political system that separates people according to their race. Now my next question, can you name any country who had such a political system? Very good. That is South Africa. Okay, my last question. Do you know about Nelson Mandela? Who was he? Good. So Nelson Mandela was a great hero who gave freedom to the black in South Africa. Clear? So now move on to the summary of this chapter. So, A Long Walk to Freedom by Nelson Mandela is all about the struggle of South Africa. Basically, on May 10, 1994, Nelson Mandela has taken the vote as the first black president of South Africa, and therefore it was becoming a newborn democratic country. Nelson Mandela took the oath as the first black president. So on that day, many dignitaries from different countries had come to be part of the most significant day. So in his speech, Mandela thanked all the dignitaries, and Mandela assured his countrymen that his country would never ever experience the same suppression of one by another. So, democracy had been established in South Africa. As a result, a government of non-discrimination was established. And even the people of South Africa sang two national anthems as a symbol of that day. And Mandela also recalled that the reason for this movement was that black-skinned people were exploited by the white people. He said that this type of suppression of people of South Africa is the origin of many stars. People must learn to hate first, because if they hate, then they can be taught to love. So as love comes from the opposite circumstances, he also says that a brave man is not that who doesn't feel afraid, but who conquers it. So in life, a man has two major obligations. First one is towards his family, and second one is towards his society and country and the people and the community. So everyone he must fulfill as per his inclination and interest. But it was very tough to fulfill in a country like South Africa. When Mandela became an adult, then he understood that his freedom was only an illusion. In fact, he was the slave of exploitation. He also understood that not only he was a slave, but his family and his countrymen were also slaves. So according to him, freedom is also mandatory for those who suppress others in the past. So they also have the right to have it, because nature of the other's freedom is a part of the same. Thus the oppressor is as such oppressor as he oppressed the others. So now to the conclusion, the brave man is not the one who does not feel afraid, but he is one who conquers that fear. Mandela said that every man has his duties towards his country, and we must follow that one. So I hope you understood this chapter. Now our next topic is a tiger in the zoo. So before we have a sneak peek into the poem, I want to ask you a few questions. My first question is that, do you like animals? Of course, many of you may like animals as a pet, and many of you don't like. Now my next question, how would you feel if someone confined you within the four walls of a house? Probably most of you don't like the ideas to be confined in the house. My next question, can you understand the psychology of an animal who is being caged? We usually fail to understand the psychology of that animal. So now read this poem, which is dependent upon the psychology of a tiger who is being caged. So this poem shows the poor condition of the tiger who is in the cage. So in a zoo, the tiger walks in the limited space provided to it in the cage, and he can take very few steps. There are stripes on his body which are easily noticeable. His paws are soft like velvet, and he does not make any noise while walking on his pads of velvet. So usually the tiger is silent. But poet suggests that the cage is not a proper place for the tiger. It is not his natural inhabitat. So what if the tiger in the cage is a victim of human cruelty? So generally tigers are found sitting under some bushes or long grasses near some water bodies, so that the tiger can see its prey like deer coming to the drinking water, and consequently can slide silently through the grass and kill them. The poet wants to convey all humankind that the tiger The poet wants to convey to all humankind that the tiger should be there in the forest and not in the cage. So further, the poet gave a suggestion that the tiger should be sitting at the jungle edge near the village, and it may terrorize the people passing that way by showing its sharp teeth, baring its claws, and producing a roaring sound of anger. But now, the poet has deep sympathy due to the unpleasant situation of the tiger, who is imprisoned in a cell made of concrete. Tiger is unable to come out due to the strong bars fixed at the concrete cell. So the tiger's strength is locked behind the bars. As such circumstances are making tiger having no interest in the visitors also, and he keeps to stalking in the limited space of the cage. The poet is trying to make realize the people about a tiger who is sitting in the cage and feeling unpleasant and restless. The tiger is still showing no interest in the sound created by the patrolling cars of the zoo authorities. The poet is showing him staring at the shining star with his brilliant eyes. The poet is raising a moral issue here. He intended to present a strong case against the cruelty of human towards the animals by keeping them in the cage. So the conclusion, we can say that in this poem the poet is conveying an important message that wild animals should be in their natural habitat. They must not be confined within the cage. So today our next topic is from the diary of Anne Frank. So again, before the start of this chapter, I will ask you a few questions related to this one. My first question is that, do you keep diaries? Of course, many of you may or may not. So next question, if you keep diaries, what would you love to write in your diaries? You may love to write your personal experiences, events that happen outside from your house. Whatever you feel comfortable, you can write in your diaries. So now, this from the diary of Anne Frank. In this, we come to know that the author feels that it is a strange and unusual for a 13-year-old child to write diaries, because it is the first time that Anne Frank is going to write down her diary, and she feels that in the future no one will read about a young girl's past experiences. But then she puts these thoughts away and decides to write her thoughts. Now what happened? The author is feeling very lonely as he has no friend to talk to. So she wants to give her need of a friend as a shape. So hence she decides to name the diary as a kitty. The writer feels that the paper has more capacity to observe thoughts rather than people who have very low patience level. He has a good time with friends but can't share everything with them. As they are not true friends, she refers to her father as the most lovable who present her diary on her 13th birthday. So on June 20, 1942, she mentions how her class is nervous about their result. Anne Frank is going to write about her class result. The author says that the only subject she is unsure about is mathematics. She and her friend G are trying to stop the students from making noise, but to no avail. According to the author, but the quarter of the class should not pass as they do not practice in any activities. They are sure about their result. So Anne recalls how the math professor is constantly irritated by her talkativeness. While talking in his classes, he gives her extra homework as punishment. So what was the first punishment? The first punishment is to write an essay on chatterbox, which the author thinks as weird. She imagines about the topic and decides to present concrete argument in support of talking. She writes that she will try to better herself but can't eliminate talking completely. The professor finds it amusing but allots another topic after she did not change her nature. The topic is an incorrigible chatterbox, which refers to a habit that is difficult to change. So after keeping an eye on her, the professor gives her another topic, quack, 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 said Mistress Chatterbox, as a punishment. She runs out of thoughts after writing 2 times on a similar topic. She decides to write her third topic in the form of a poem and writes a satire, and luckily the professor takes it lightly. The professor recites the entire poem in front of the class, and author talked uninterruptedly after this one. So the conclusion of this chapter, we can say that in this story from the diary of Anne Frank, we can conclude that a young student needs to talk and feel joyous in order to stay mentally fit. Now I hope you understood 2 chapters and 1 poem. In your today's online class, your teacher will discuss the question answers of this chapter. Till the time, stay safe, stay at home. Thank you.